On the Las Vegas Raiders rundown, we have a ton of stories for you. Could Will Compton be joining the Raiders? Riddick hypes up rookie Matthew Butler. The Raiders finally get some love on the new Madden. Abram is playing too high deep safety, and more OTA news on the Raiders rundown today. Remember to like this video if you haven't already. It really helps us out. Subscribe and ring the bell for more notifications. Let's get right into it. So every year, Will Compton likes to tease the Raiders and talk about the possibility of him joining. Last year, he was actually on our practice squad for a couple months towards the end of the year, and then he was eventually released in January. So the Raiders have always shown some love to Will Compton, and he's always shown some love to the Raiders. And now you got Maxx Crosby on Twitter posting this year 10 bound with Will Compton, and they're in sort of this brick building. I mean, if I was going to guess, I would say this looks like possibly the Raiders facility in Henderson. So could this guy be signing with us? Now we do have a decent amount of linebackers, in my opinion. You got Mika Kaiser, Kenny Young at the lower end of the depth chart. Then you got Diablo, Jayon Brown, and Denzel Perryman as well. But could we use Will Compton's services? Or maybe he's down to be that practice squad guy like he has been in the past just last season. I'm not sure, but Will Compton did respond to this with some eye emojis. So maybe this is some more teasing about joining the Raiders. You see Compton has his Bussin' with the Boys shirt, but it's sort of like a Raiders emblem on the Bussin' with the Boys shirt. Hey, it could possibly happen, and we got to see if this does happen. I think it's actually not necessarily a good thing for the other players on our team. It would seem like, wow, are the players we have on our team really can't compete with a 10-year vet who's kind of more focused on being a podcaster and a media personality right now, just to be completely honest. I mean, if we do go out and sign Will Compton, that's cool. Is it all hype? Is it really necessary? And if it is necessary, what does that say about some of those other people at the linebacking position? You tell me. Maxx Crosby being hyped up more by the media. PFF, Pro Football Focus, ranks him as one of the top 10 edge rushers under 25, ranked number 3. I think he's number 1. I mean, he led the NFL in pressures. Joey Bosa's never done that. Oh shit. I mean, Nick Bosa, same shit, right? Just a smaller nose, I guess, right? That's all you get with Nick Bosa compared to Joey, a smaller nose. But Nick Bosa, he just hasn't put up the numbers as Maxx Crosby. And keep in mind, Maxx Crosby hasn't had the talent around him like Bosa has with the 49ers. There's always good defensive linemen around him. Crosby's put up a ton more pressures than him, and it's not all Bosa's fault. He's been injured and whatnot. So I just think it's ridiculous that they're still ranking this guy ahead of him. But that's how they're going to treat all those big name celebrities. They're always going to give him more credit than Maxx Crosby. But I think this is the year Maxx Crosby just skyrockets even more ahead of some of these guys. And Brian Burns, I still feel bad for him because Mac Jones twisted his ankle last year. What the hell was up with that? But they were at the pass rushing university with Von Miller. You see Chandler Jones there and Maxx Crosby talking football with people like Justin Houston, the pass rusher who's currently on the Ravens after being on the Colts for several years. Really interesting to see our guys up here kind of ranked as some of the most legit pass rushers in the NFL and the type of people who are teaching other guys. We actually have leaders on our team, on our defense, and if you've been a Raiders fan over the past 30 years, that's hasn't happened that much historically, so this is pretty cool to see for the Raiders. And also in attendance at Von Miller's Pass Rush University, you have Kyle Pecco, the defensive tackle, just signed this year on pretty much a one-year prove-it deal, $890,000, maybe a little more than that. And you also have Deshaun Bauer there, the former Patriot who is signed by the Raiders this year as well. All these Raiders here trying to learn some things from some stars like Crosby, like Chandler Jones, and of course Von Miller. And you always wonder, will the Raiders make another move? We want to see another move. We want to see the Sue signing. We want to see the OBJ signing. We all want the flashy signings of all the famous players. Any famous player. Oh, people even want the Kaepernick signing. Just anybody who's famous. Let's sign him. Let's give him some money. But do we think the Raiders are going to make some moves? I would say no. I don't think the Raiders are going to make any moves at this point by bringing in new players. They have plenty of guys that they've already brought in. I think it would be a stretch. I don't think there's one person out there in free agency besides maybe Sue where you say, hey, I want to go ahead and grab that guy. I think he'd help the team immediately. $22.5 million in cap space. Really only the Panthers and the Browns ahead of the Raiders. You look at our competition there. The Chiefs are at 14.7, Broncos at 12.5, and the Chargers at 16.3 there. So we have by far the most cap space in our division. We could make some moves. I think the right move to make is to try to lock up some players, front load their contracts, spend it all this year, spend the money this year, restructure Darren Waller's contract, get him an extension, and put a lot of that cap space and front load it onto this year. That way you can pay him lower down the road, right? We know the signing bonus is spread out through multiple years. Maybe we could front load that. but I think that would be the wisest decision for the Raiders here, not really bringing in anybody new. And you could bring in Sue, right, to help the defensive tackle position, but then you're taking away snaps from people like Matthew Butler, the rookie out of Tennessee in the 4th round. Matthew Butler could be that guy, could be a talented player for the Raiders. Louis Riddick seems to believe Matthew Butler can be that guy. He has him ranked here as some of his top players who are not first rounders in the NFL draft. You see him at the very bottom here, LV, Matt Butler, and this is pretty cool. He says he could be a major impact player. He went out of his way to not put 1st or 2nd round players in this list. Louis Riddick, the former Raider, the guy who's always rumored to be our GM whenever we have any kind of vacancy. This guy, who a lot of Raider Nation respects, is hyping up Matthew Butler. So we should take Louis Riddick seriously. We should listen to him, and we should not sign someone like Adamakan Sue, because we don't want to take away any snaps from somebody like Matthew Butler. Matthew Butler, someone who's on that rookie contract, going to be here for 4 years, hopefully. And so why not get this guy ready, get this guy in the game, and hopefully we could find another Maxx Crosby and another diamond in the rough in the 4th round with that defensive line. I think that's the better choice to make than just spending all your money on Ndamukong Suh. Ndamukong Suh, I'm sorry, I think I might be dyslexic. And apparently I guess I said that right the first time, but you see what I'm saying. Johnathan Abram lining up at deep safety. We talked about Tashawn Reed reporting on this just last week in some of my videos, but I wanted to bring this up again because this means that this guy is sort of being thrown into the fire in camp. The coaching staff wants to see how this guy does in coverage. Everybody's saying, oh, this is his weak spot. This is his weak spot. Okay, well, let's find out. Let's find out if it's all cap, because hey, think about it. Johnathan Abram has had Paul Guenther as his defensive coordinator for the majority of his career. And when you have somebody like Paul Guenther as your defensive coordinator, you can't point the finger at the player too much, right? There's a reason John Gruden fired him. And think about it. John Gruden fired this guy even though he was his friend, even though it was a nepotism hire. That's insane. You got to be really bad to be fired by your friend. I mean, how badly do you mess up to get fired by the friend? So let's see how Johnathan Abram does. Hopefully he could turn it around in coverage this year. The Raiders had a high no-show rating in 2021 at Allegiant Stadium, and Mark Davis is blaming the requirement that they had last year with the vaccination. And hey, hopefully things can turn around for the Raiders. One thing that actually happened is a lot of casinos purchased tickets and weren't able to resell them. So it wasn't necessarily that the Raiders lost money. Like, Mark Davis didn't lose money. He made a lot of money last year. It's just on the third party market, on the resale market, it was very difficult for people to sell tickets. So this year, we're going to see even more packed stadiums than we had last year. In my opinion, it was about 14-15% no-show rate. That's really high compared to the rest of the NFL. That's going to change. And when you look at some video and you attend some games, you know the games were lit last year, but there's going to be even more people this year with no requirements. So that should be really interesting to see. And hopefully we have more lit games. And hopefully Madden keeps giving us some more respect. And we still do not know Derek Carr's rating in the new Madden. I am very interested to see his rating. I'm sick and tired of him being rated 82 or 83. It's absolutely ridiculous. Darren Waller's been getting some love in Madden as of late, and the Raiders are ranked number 8 according to this Madden leak on Instagram, Madden 23 leaks. The reason why I think this guy's Madden leaks are legit is because he received a letter from EA Sports telling him to stop. So, if they're coming after you, threatening to sue you, you probably got some pretty good information out here that they don't want you to reveal, okay? So the Bucs are still ranked number 1 because Brady, for some dumbass reason, is always ranked 99, even though he's 46 years old, and nothing like the Brady from the early 2000s, I'll tell you what. And I think Josh McDaniels would even agree with that. Hey, we got the Rams at 88, ranked 3 overall. The Bills, number 2. The Bills, the highest rated AFC team on this list. The Chargers and the Chiefs are still ranked above us because, they're going to overvalue Justin Herbert. They're definitely going to overvalue Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack does not need to be in the 90s, especially after these past 2 seasons with the Bears. Just look at the numbers to tell you it itself. But the Raiders, ranked pretty high. I personally don't struggle. I'm out there balling out, throwing to freaking Brian Edwards and Zay Jones. I don't really need good receivers on Madden, to be honest, or a good offensive line. But I thought it was absolutely ridiculous to see some of the ratings for the Raiders defense. Even last year, you saw Perryman not have the greatest rating. One of the only Pro Bowl linebackers in the AFC in the game. So you would think he'd have a higher rating. But the Bengals behind us, that's really interesting to see. Them going to the Super Bowl and still being behind us. I think Davante Adams has a lot to do with that for the Raiders. Probably going to put Hunter Renfrow a lot higher rating in Madden, but hey, finally we're getting some respect by EA Sports, so that's pretty good to see. And Marcel Reece, man, this guy just keeps climbing up the ranks. He is becoming a close confidant of Mark Davis. You saw Mark Davis promote this guy to senior vice president, chief of staff. He keeps moving up, the former Raider, former player, and it's great to see, man. And it's really funny. New York Times tried to do a hit piece on Mark Davis pretty recently, and they tried to accuse him of racial discrimination at one point to their former HR director, which is pretty crazy to say that about someone like Mark Davis, especially the legacy of the Davis family and how they broke so many barriers for people in the NFL, especially when it comes to head coaching with Art Shell. And so that was absolutely ridiculous for them to say. And obviously, I don't think Mark Davis is really discriminating too much because he's promoting people like Marcel Reece. And it's really a shame that we even have to bring that up and talk about that. But that's what happens when you get the New York Times, you know, actively attacking our owner and putting out negative information and PR against our owner. So now we got Marcel Reece here, and Mark Badane, he's been gone. Dan Ventrell has been gone. Now we got more people like Marcel Reece running the show here for the Raiders, and that's good to see. So let me know what you guys think. Is this Will Compton thing likely going to happen? Who knows? The story will unfold in the future. We got mandatory mini camp rolling through June 7th to June 9th. We'll see what happens. You know, Josh Jacobs did not practice at OTAs, which is normal for a starter, especially a running back, and we know that he's had some holdouts in the past, especially with his rookie year. He held out with his contract for some time, and you know, if he doesn't go to mini camp and it's mandatory, if he's not participating there, that's when you got to start to wonder, like, what is actually going down. So we know we've had some absence from some players. Trayvon Mullen wasn't there as well. Kenyon Drake was absent a few times. There's been a ton for OTAs, but they are optional. Always remember they are optional. So June 7th to June 9th, mandatory minicamp. We're really going to find out who's showing up and is there a problem there? Is there a problem here with attendance? This is Wi-Fi Willie of the Raiders Rundown. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.